So, okay. So last time we left off at looking at finding the target. So I'd like to just start with that. I'm going to ask you some questions about present triggers and past triggers. So if you would, tell me what is difficult for you to do when you are with the ones you love the most?
So something that's difficult for me to do with the ones that I love is to just to be quiet and to just kind of have permission to just to be quiet. Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me about a recent time when you have an example of this?
Yes. I'm trying to think of a recent one. I was talking to my sister and on the phone, and I noticed that like I was almost like impulsively sharing instead of listening to her. Like words would come out of my mouth, and then I'd go, "Why did I just say that?"
Okay. Do you have a recent example of when that has happened, like in a social situation or a work situation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was at a book club, and they kind of gave an announcement, like trying to encourage people that are usually more quiet to talk more, and people that are usually more verbose to talk less. And I felt like the announcement was about me, and I was very self-conscious, and every time I wanted to say something, I felt my heart racing, and I felt like my body getting really agitated and just feeling really anxious with that tension of whether it was okay for me to share or not.
Do you have an example of how this shows up in your work life?
Yeah, sometimes in session, um, my I can be a little over explain things, or maybe feel like I have the need to kind of use more words than my client might need. And if I really take a step back, I go, was that for me or was that for them? I kind of wonder if it wasn't necessarily beneficial for the client, but it was more to manage my own discomfort.
As you bring up the worst part of this issue right now, what is the worst part of it right now?
Kind of wondering how it impacts my worthiness. Just it feels connected to my worthiness somehow.
How disturbing is it to you right now on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being it's very disturbing, 0 is no disturbance, as you bring that up right now?
Kind of 6.
And when you bring up the disturbance, what's the negative belief that you have about yourself right now?
Like that I'm not okay as I am, that I have to kind of earn my place. I have to earn love and belonging.
When you bring up the worst part of your present issue in the words, I'm not okay, I have to earn love and belonging, what is an earlier time you can remember experiencing something similar?
When I was in I was bullied in elementary school, so something that came to mind was in fifth grade. Kids put a dead bat in my desk.
And I'm sorry, you said fifth grade?
Yeah, so probably about 10, 11 years old.
And what about an earlier time?
When I was about 8, I think, my family was at the dinner table, and my dad made a comment of, "Are you really gonna eat that? You could go days without eating." And I don't know if it was the same conversation that he called me as fat as a pig, or if that was separate, but I feel like those memories feel connected.
Okay. How about an earlier time?
When I was about 6 or 7, I remember laying on the couch by my mom, with my head on her lap, asking if she had ever thought of aborting me.
Well, I wonder what would give you that idea or even give you the language to be able to ask something like that.
Yeah, I was a very observant child, and I think I must have heard family members talking something about, like, my mom got pregnant out of marriage, and so I don't know if I overheard a family member saying maybe she should have had an abortion, or maybe, I don't know. I don't have a memory of where I got that language. I just remember the moment and my mom's face of utter terror that I had asked her that, and she was very quick to say no, that she had never thought that had never crossed her mind. But that felt like a very poignant moment.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How about something earlier than that?
Don't have a memory of this, but I've been told that when I was in kindergarten, and there were I wouldn't play the games until I knew exactly what was expected of me. Like, if there was a new game and the teacher was just trying to get the kids to participate, I would refuse to participate, and I would watch until I knew exactly what I was supposed to do, so that I knew how to do it well and do it right.
It almost sounds like you're afraid to make a mistake.
Yeah.
How about something earlier than that?
There's nothing coming to mind.
Okay. Okay. So I'd like to shift a little bit, and the triggers that you brought up in the different parts of your life. Sorry, my papers are very out of order. So in thinking about a present trigger, that like being at the book club and feeling self-conscious, how would you like to be able to respond to that in the future?
I'd like to be able to not feel anxious in my body, and not feel like there's a certain right or wrong way to be, that I could just have freedom to show up and let myself be seen.
Okay. And as you think about the trigger of being like talking with your sister over the phone, how would you like to respond to that in the future?
Um, that I'd be able to, that it wouldn't be almost compulsive, that I'd be able to just, again, be present and be enough and not have to like earn that connection with her, but just trust that it's established.
And then within work, the other trigger that you identified, feeling as if you explain things, how would you like to handle that in the future?
I would like to be able to just be present in session and be able to connect with, like, stay out of my head and just be able to be in the moment.
Okay. So for each of these, it sounds like you want to be present and you want to feel like you don't have to, like that just you are enough. And that it sounds like being in your head potentially feeling as if you might make a mistake or do something wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're just going to notice that. I guess this is where we go into reprocessing.
I feel activated right now.
Okay. I,
Yeah.
so,
Like I have, like my head is really calm and I feel really clear in my head right now.
sure.
Almost like the going into the future states kind of grounded me.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe, you know, if we talked about touchstone and went back there, then I could light up again.
Okay. Well, see, this is where like the script thing is killing me. I'm trying to be okay with it, but like, for instance, like you talked about the experience of being 8 years old with your dad and him questioning, like, are you really going to eat that? And what I'm wondering is if you felt judged there as a little girl, you know, and then you're asking your mom about whether or not she thought about aborting you. And I did notice those were difficult memories for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are you noticing in your body?
The one about aborting my mom, the one about talking to my mom about whether she thought about aborting me, I feel it right now.
Okay. Where are you noticing that in your body?
Feeling tearful and like a choking sensation in my neck.
Okay. So why don't we notice that? And if you're feeling safe enough to turn on the pulsars, we can start to process that.
Okay. Want me to turn it on now?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's start to notice what's happening in your body, observing the sensations. Right. And take a breath. What are you noticing now?
Not noticing the tears wanting to come, but just a kind of still a choking sensation in my neck.
Okay, let's go with that. If you're ready, let's turn the pulsars back on. Take a breath. Okay. What are you noticing now?
Starting to feel like on my lower back, like this, it's not a pain, but a shooting kind of sensation on my back with heat.
Okay. All right, let's just notice that and go with it. Take a breath. What are you noticing now?
My lower back feels like it's not as, there's movement there. It's not in the same place. It's still uncomfortable and still feels hot. But it's moving.
Okay. Let's notice that and go with it. Take a breath. Let it go. What's coming up for you now?
Just feeling real like a weight, almost like there was just heavy on my legs and my back, lower back and legs, just feeling really heavy.
So let's notice that and go with it. Just doing your best to allow the sensations to come up. Go ahead and take a breath. Let it go. What are you noticing now?
It's almost like the weights have shifted to heat. It just feels like a heat on my lower back and legs.
Okay. All right, let's just notice that and continue to go with it. Just noticing and observing the sensations. All right, take a breath. Let it go. What's coming up for you now?
It's almost like the weight touched the ground and then the heat came from my feet to my back and I was feeling up to my jaw.
Okay. So notice that and let's go with it. Take a breath. Let it go. What are you noticing now?
I just feel stuck in my back. I feel like it just kind of, for some reason, just that same sensation. It's just not moving.
Okay. All right, so let's notice that and go with it. All right, take a breath. What are you noticing now?
Still that same tight, hot back and leg feeling.
Okay. I'd like to go back to the touchstone and just noticing that memory and the sensations that you felt with that. I'm wondering if you're feeling stuck right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know that we talked about like the butterfly is a little too slow for you. Do you find it helpful to like do finger movements and the pulsars?
We can try that, or we can try something else. Yeah.
We can, um, sorry, I know that's not necessarily helpful with your processing. How about we'll go back to Touchstone and let's stay with the pulsars.
Yeah.
And whatever happens. So when you're ready, go ahead and turn the pulsars back on. Notice what's happening in your body.
I'm thinking of the Touchstone while doing
Yes.
that.
Yes.
But the memory of the being 8 years old wouldn't be the Touchstone.
No. We talked about you being 6, 7 years old, and you're asking your mom whether or not she ever thought about aborting you.
Okay, that one has a Touchstone. Okay, all right.
All right, take a breath. What are you noticing now?
Just a lot of heat.
Okay. All right, let's notice that and go with it. All right, take a breath. So, what's coming up for you now?
I'm having a hard time holding the memory and staying in my body. So that kind of dual attention, it's like my body's just shutting down the memory and just staying in my body, and it just feels like it's just this heat, and it just the intensity goes up and down, but it's in the same place, and it just for some reason it's here, but it's not moving.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just notice that and go with it. Take a breath, let it go. What are you noticing now?
The same.
Same. Okay. So let's go back to the target memory. And the target memory, you're 6, 7 years old, you're laying on the couch with your mom, and you're noticing something about asking her whether or not she ever thought about aborting you. What do you notice in your body as you think about that memory right now?
It's like the heat was turned up on my back.
Okay. I wonder if your mom, when you two were laying down, can you tell me a little bit more about your body positions?
She was sitting upright on the couch, kind of like how I'm sitting now.
Mhm.
And I was laying with my head on her lap.
Okay. And so you looked up at her and asked, "Did you ever think about aborting me?"
Mhm.
Okay. What are you noticing right now as I said that?
I was thinking of a 6, 7 year old even using those words. I remember her face being really shocked.
Okay. So let's go with that. Go ahead and start the pulsers. Take a breath. Let it go. What are you noticing now?
In addition to the heat on the back, I felt like tight on my ankles and pressure on my shoulders as if like somebody was pushing my shoulder down and holding, shackled my ankles.
Yeah. All right. Let's go with that. All right. Take a breath. And let it go. What are you noticing now?
Shoulder pressure, heat, ankles, and now choking on the neck.
Okay. All right. Let's notice that and go with it. All right. Take a breath. Let it go. What are you noticing now?
Same.
Same. Okay. So when you bring up the original memory of you laying on the couch with your mom, on a scale of 0 to 10, where 10 is the highest disturbance, 0 is no disturbance at all, what is the highest disturbance that you're feeling right now?
My body feels like a 6, 7. My head feels fine. Like my thoughts are fine. I'm not having any kind of negative thoughts or anything like that. It just feels like it's all in my body.
Okay, so let's notice what's happening in the body and the level of disturbance. And go ahead and turn the pulsers on again. All right, take a breath. Let it go. What are you noticing now?
There's kind of the feeling of being stuck with like no movement.
Okay. You said the disturbance was like about a 6 within your body,
6, 7, yeah.
7 in your body. Okay. Let's just notice where you are feeling that in your body and go with that. All right, take a breath. Let go. What are you noticing now?
Still the shoulder pressure, the back heat, and like the ankle. It's like they're being held together almost. The same.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's go with that. All right, take a breath. Let go. What are you noticing now?
Just kind of noticing some frustration with no movement.
Okay, well, let's just notice that and go with it. All right, take a breath. Let go. What are you noticing now?
I'm very aware of the noise of the pulsars. It's almost like my body is distracted and is almost trying to distract itself from the heat that's not moving.
Okay. How distressing is the heat that you're experiencing in your body on that scale of 0 to 10? 10 being it's very distressing, the heat that I'm experiencing, 0 not at all.
It's not distressing. It's just, it feels like I have a heating pad on my back. It's not painful. It's just wasn't there before we started. So, but it feels like a heating pad, and then it feels like some like a gentle warm pressure on my shoulders, and then the ankles is the one that feels most distressing because it feels like it's being held close.
Okay.
It's not physically close right now.
Yeah. Okay. And how distressing or disturbing would that be? The sensation around the ankles?
Uncomfortable but not unbearable, like 6, 7, not like, oh my gosh, get me out of here, I'm
Right.
freaking out, but just strange, slightly more than average. Just, yeah, it's not neutral, it's not pleasant, but it's not really distressing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just notice that, noticing what's happening in the body and the ankles. All right, take a breath. Let go. What are you noticing now?
The maybe the ankle, just more aware of it than the rest, but the physical sensation is the same, but my awareness is more heightened about the ankles.
Okay. Well, let's notice that and go with it. All right, take a breath. Let it go. What's coming up for you now?
It's making me wonder what was an earlier time that my ankles might have felt like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about that. There's something about that sensation.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't feel like it's about the memory on the couch with my mom. It feels like there's something else.
Okay. So I'd like to be able to just make a note of that and potentially explore that next time, because we are getting close on time. Would you be interested in doing a resource?
Sure. Yeah.
I was wondering if you'd be open to trying the spiral technique.
Okay.
Okay. So what I would like you to do is, we've already been going through some disturbing memories for you, well, distressing, and to concentrate on the body sensations that come along with this. And imagine, that there is no right or wrong with this. And that when you bring up that memory that is distressing for you, how does it feel on a scale from 0 to 10?
About a 4.
Okay. And where do you feel that in your body?
Shoulder, lower back, and ankles.
Okay. So I'd like you to concentrate on the feeling in your body and pretend the feelings are energy. And if the sensation was going in a spiral, what direction would it be moving in? Clockwise or counterclockwise?
Counterclockwise.
Okay, good. And now just continue to move the spiral, but in the opposite direction. Just changing the direction, move the spiral in the opposite direction. And just notice what happens as it moves. What happens for you?
I felt like I kept losing the spiral. Like I was imagining like a screw, and just the rings on a screw. That it was going one direction and then trying to imagine it going the other. And it's like the energy kept like dispersing and not going. It's like it was losing the vortex and just going out.
Okay, it may be something potentially to practice. Where would you rate your distressing feelings now on that same scale of 0 to 10?
About the same as when we started.
Okay.
Not like just uncomfortable, but not really distressing.
Okay. Okay. So again, maybe something potentially worth continuing to practice. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now.